Hi everyone, this is my top 13 favorite horror novels, and this was originally going to be a top 10, but that proved to be too difficult for a number of reasons. Maybe because there's just too many books I really love, and also I thought like, oh, this is actually 13 would be perfect because that's like a spooky, unlucky number, so that'll be pretty fitting for showing off my favorite horror novels. One thing I would like to point out about this video. Some of these books, they're definitely not like, I guess, to quote, the highest quality books or the most best. They're not the best written ones either, but they're the ones I just really enjoy. And also another thing, some of these are just downright stupid books and weird, but again, they're just ones I had the most fun with and wanted to show off for this video to maybe give them a little bit more attention. Also, something else I was gonna do for this video, I was gonna originally wear my apparition costume, which there's the mask for it. I was gonna wear that mask while talking about these things, and the camera's gonna be pointing at me, but that proved to be too difficult because it got really hard to speak in it. So I just said screw it, I just filmed this video, like this. Anyways, so with that being said, I'll just get straight to the top 13. This is Goblins by David Bernstein. I just want to show that cover. Sorry for the really poor lighting in my room. I don't have a lot of lights in here. But, I'm not, sorry, but, you lost my train of thought. But basically, this is a creature feature kind of book. I'm sure you can guess, yeah, it's about goblins. It's basically about a bunch of goblins going on a rampage in a small town on an island. I don't recall if they said what state it took place in. I think if I remember correctly, it took place in the U.S. at least, but I don't think they said what state. Maybe they did. Again, it's been on like 2 years since I read this book. But this one is a lot of fun and not to be taken too seriously, to be honest. At least that's how I feel. Because it has some really over the top gore, and there's even points in the book where children get killed. So yeah, maybe that could be a deal breaker for some people. Because I hope about some people. I mean, I saw this on a review on Goodreads or Amazon. I can't remember where. It was somewhere, but someone just said that they couldn't really read the book because it got to the point where children were being killed in horrific ways, which I can get that. That's like, that's a line a lot of people don't like to cross. Anyways, but yeah, just again show off the cover again. I'm not sure totally sure if this book is still in print. I got this quite a few years ago, and that's what thing. Again, I'm reading this. I don't have a script for this, so I'm just gonna be like, fumbling over my words. Wait, this is number 12. This is The Forgotten Island by David Sodengreen. Hope I'm saying the names correctly. I'm probably butchering most of these people's names. But this is a really fun one. I really enjoyed. Also, just wait, let me just show off the cover again. Like, this cover is so good. Reminds me of something I would see in a video store on VHS back when I was a kid, and I'd be like browsing like Hollywood Video or Blockbuster. But this one is about, well, basically people, they go to a resort in Thailand, and they're having a good time. And I don't want to get into like spoiler territory, but they end up on this island that it seems like is not even on the maps, and a lot of the locals refuse to go there. But as you can tell from the cover, there's like, well, some creatures there. And one thing I want to mention about this book, it was written a lot like a Richard Lehman novel. And I'm pretty sure, of course, the author of this, he's probably at least a fan of Richard Lehman, because at one point in this book, one of the characters is actually reading a Richard Lehman novel, and then she puts it down to do something else. So I thought that was kind of neat while I was reading it, because I really do enjoy Richard Lehman novels. And as I probably like repeat myself a lot, but as I was saying, yeah, this is written very much like a Richard Lehman novel because it has a lot of like gore and like sex stuff. So I guess that's well, I mean, I guess that's good for some people like me, because it's cheesy. I really do enjoy those kind of things. Anyways, now number 11. This is Afraid by J.A. Conrath. Really good book. Also, this author, he goes by Jack Kilborn, I believe. That's one of his pen names. I'm not sure if he still uses it though. He did at one time. But this one I actually got because of a friend of mine named Amos recommended to me. He said he really enjoyed it, so I figured, oh, I'll check it out. And I really did enjoy it. I believe I get 5 stars on Goodreads. Had a lot of fun reading this one. But I'm probably, I know this. Well, this is a common thing in a lot of horror books and movies. But this one takes place in a small town. I believe it was in Wisconsin. It they basically something terrifying has came to their town and people are being killed, and then the military basically quarantines the whole town. Like there's no way in or out, and the phone lines are dead. So this one it has some pretty horrific stuff in it, and not only that, it also has this feeling of like dread and helplessness because again these people, they're trapped in this town with no way out. Okay, this is my number 10. This is The Beast House by Richard Lehman. I really do enjoy Richard Lehman novels. They're pretty. They're not really the most like high quality ones, I suppose. Well, I might say high quality. They're not really the best written or structured sometimes, but they're really fun. I feel they're just kind of like very schlocky exploitation kind of movies, but in book form. I was debating putting this or Flesh as my top 10 because those are the Richard Lehman novels I enjoyed the most. But then I cited The Beast House because it's I've only read The Cell in the Beast House series, but so far I really enjoyed The Beast House. Some reason something about The Beast House just really draws me to it because it's okay. I guess I should say a little bit about what the book is about. It's about this so-called haunted house. So, I think it was called like Malcasa Point. Oh man, I can't remember the town's name. Crap, I'm so bad. But anyways, it's about this town in California. They have this place called the Beast House, and it's a place that supposedly has a beast that roams the house at night. And the history of it is that there was a family that got murdered in there by this so-called beast, and now it's a tourist attraction where they put these wax sculptures of the victims, and they even have like a gift shop, that sort of thing. And I don't know, that sounds really cool because also speaking, that house was real. I probably would take the tour because it sounds really cool. No, one thing I was reading this when they go through the gift shop, like one of the characters buys something, the merchandise at the gift shop. I was thinking, damn, I would buy some of that stuff too. Especially they had this like back scratcher that's shaped like a claw of the beast. Anyways, that's number 10. Number 9, this one is incredibly cheesy, but it's one I read in one sitting. I know that may not be too impressive for some people, but it's impressive for me because I don't read very fast. But this is Curse of the Gutripper by Tim Miller. And not to be confused with Tim Miller, the director of Deadpool and a few other films. This one is basically a Friday the 13th movie in book form. You can quite tell from the name and the cover. But yeah, it's basically about this place that a lot of people like to go camping at, but it's supposedly haunted by a myth called, well, like a mythical figure called, well, I guess what you do again, mythical figure called the Gutripper. So yeah, people, they go camping there and they find out the Gutripper is real. And there's some really brutal kills in this book. For example, I don't want to spoil too much. I know I keep saying that a lot, but I don't want to say too much about what these books have because I guess if anyone reads them, they can see it for themselves. But at one point, one woman actually gets hanged on a tree from her own intestines, and there's like some really like brutal kills done with like several types of I guess bladed weapons and blunt objects because I guess that's how those slasher flicks were. But yeah, this one's really enjoyable. It's a pretty easy read, and also not only super easy to read, it's also a pretty short book. It's only about 170 pages, so it's not that long. So you can just read it in an afternoon. If I would say it's a must-have for anyone who's a fan of Jason or Michael Myers and such. Okay, and this is number 8. This is Bigfoot Crank Stomp by Eric Williams. You can tell from the cover, he'll just show it off a little bit more. I mean, come on, look at that. This one, you can tell from the cover, you cannot take it seriously at all. This is one from Deadite Press. But it's basically about a Bigfoot going on a drug-fueled rampage on his quest to look for more drugs. Some people, they go to a drug den and they find that there's a Sasquatch creature chained up in the basement. You can see it like he's escaping from it. Yeah, he gets out and then he just starts like ripping people apart. Like he rips off people's arms. I remember he stomps on them and he does a bunch of other stuff. It's really fun and it's not to be taken seriously whatsoever. It's like you turn your brain off and just sort of had fun with it. But yeah, the thing about this book though, the moment I saw its cover, I'm like, oh, I need to read this. Come on, look at that. Like he's it looks like he has a blunt with him. He has like a belt on his arm, so I guess he can inject a heroin if that's how you do it, which I think it is. And I think that's supposed to be a I'm not sure that's I don't know, maybe a crack pipe. I'm not totally sure what that's called. But anyway, that's just that one. Like I said, it's incredibly stupid, but it's a lot of fun. So I think I have to show it. And it's also one of my favorites because it's also super short. It's only like, let's see how many pages it is. It's about 140 pages, so it's really short. It's a pretty easy read, you know. And okay, next one. Okay, I'm just grabbing my book. So this is number 7. This is Stephen King's Pet Sematary. I'm sure I don't need to explain too much about what this one's about. I'm sure everyone knows. I mean, it's quite different from the movie, but you get the idea. So I won't go too much into it, but this one I think is my favorite Stephen King novel. I was considering putting this or Carrie because those are my 2 favorites, but I enjoyed this one a little bit more. And one thing, I watched the movie a long time ago, but when I read this book, I was like, oh, this is really different. I mean, I know a lot of times with books and movies, there's quite a bit of differences, but this one has, I felt, more significant because most of them, like, well, I guess that's the case for a lot of his work. Like, you know, because I know a lot of movies for Stephen King, they don't follow too closely. But anyways, but yeah, this is Pet Sematary by Stephen King. Again, my favorite Stephen King novel. This one, this one's gonna be hard to explain. This is a really, really weird book. This one is called Spider Bunny. It's from Carlton Mellick. I believe he goes by Carlton Mellick III, actually. He's an author of a genre called bizarro fiction, because a lot of his books are incredibly weird, and a lot of them are, I feel, horror related. Not all of them. I think most of them are, but he's known for mostly like the bizarro fiction stuff. I'm not so sure what's the best way to describe bizarro fiction, but it's just basically stuff that's incredibly weird and random. But this one is about a bunny in a TV commercial that's like a cartoon. She's called Berry Bunny. She basically, I guess, lures children towards the TV set, and then she grabs them, and then she turns them into cereal, and then she eats them with her cartoon friends. Yeah, that's really weird, but that's basically what it's about. But it's involved these characters. They get trapped in her cartoon realm, and she tries to turn them to cereal. I feel like I want to show this book because, again, it's so weird and so random that I couldn't help but really like it because it's so unique. And another thing about this book, it actually here's the thing, I wasn't gonna take it too seriously, but I mean you shouldn't take it too seriously at all. But I mean, while reading it, I didn't actually expect it to have some horrifying scenes because there's actually one point. Well, again, I won't go too much into it, but one character, they just go into detail about how she gets turned into like a bunch of cereal pieces and then it gets eaten alive. And reading them, I was like, oh man, that's actually pretty scary. That's, you know, I wasn't expecting, because I thought this book was going to be just like something, you know, not really scary at all, just weird and random, but it was actually pretty, you know, scary. Nice, that's one. Okay. I just had to organize. This is my number 5. This is The Ruins by Scott Smith. This one is, I watched them before reading this book. I actually watched the movie, and I liked the movie. It has some pretty scary scenes, but one thing about this, I would say that the book is a lot better. I know that's the case for a lot of books, and you know they get adapted into the movies. But this one, I really enjoy it. This is the hardcover edition, which I really like. You know, I really like hardcover books if I can get them. But this one, again, maybe some of you have already seen the movie, but just in case you haven't, I don't want to spoil it because I feel like this book is really nice to go into blind. That was the case when I first saw the movie. I kind of wish I didn't see the movie first because if I read this book completely blind, it would have been really nice. But these people, they're on a trip to Mexico. They go to the Yucatan Peninsula and basically, basically they want to see some Mayan ruins. They go there, and some of the locals are telling them like, "Oh, you shouldn't go there," but you know, stupidly they decide to anyways, and then they come across the ruins they're looking for, and then a bunch of crazy shit starts to happen. I won't want to spoil it because, you know, I feel like it's best if someone like who doesn't know anything about this book, they go into it. Sorry, because. Okay, this is number 4. This is a creature feature called Clickers. I showed it. I mean, some of these books I know I showed off in my previous videos, but this one is Clickers from J.F. Gonzalez. I forget what the F stands for, but I believe his name is Jesus Gonzalez, and then Mark Williams. This one is about giant crustaceans who just go on complete rampage in this town. They just, you know, chop people up, and also they have these stingers that they sting people with that melts flesh. This one is really, really graphic, but also super fun. So I guess if you're a fan of like any kind of films like that, I guess this can be classified as when nature attacks, sort of. But these creatures, although I would say to me that's not exactly the case, because these creatures aren't really something that's ordinary. Because most of those, like when nature attacks sort of thing, it's just about a shark or snakes or hell even frogs or something like that, just attacking people. Anyways. This is also from Deadeye Press, just like Bigfoot Crank Stop. They have some really good books. They also have some really amazing artwork. Because I think they even said themselves, like, they publish the very best of, like, messed up books. And, well, yeah, they're not lying about that. Every one of the books I read have been incredibly, screwed up. Okay, this is my number 3. This is The Rats by James Herbert. This is interesting. I just want to show off this edition I have. It's like you see those rats on, the cover, and also you can see here there's like these bite marks. Well, I guess they're not real bite marks, but you know what I mean. On the sides of it, it's interesting. This is a really good book. Pretty simple. This is actually the first book in a trilogy. It's about giant killer rats, in London, I believe. Yeah, I believe it was London. They even made a movie of this book called Deadly Eyes, which I've never seen that movie. I've seen scenes from it. It looks fun, but it's pretty. It's like they have these small wiener dogs in these rat costumes. It's pretty obvious, like when you see them running around, that those are dogs in rat costumes. But yeah, this one, as I just said, what's it about? Just about killer rats going on a killing spree. Really fun one. There's also there's some really crazy scenes. It's like, for example, there's one that takes place in, I think, a subway. There's another one at a movie theater. That those ones are just like pretty intense. Like, oh shit, like people are just being butchered. But it's really enjoyable. Also, this book is written much like a cheesy slasher. Well, not slasher, like a cheesy movie from the 80s. Because it even has like an opening kill. It even has like. This was in the second book. It even has a character. She's like cheating on her husband, and like when her and her lover go to some secluded place to have sex, they get massacred by the rats. Again, that was in the second book. So it's stuff like that in this series kind of shows you that this book is not to be taken too seriously. Anyways, okay, that's my number 3, James Herbert, The Rats. Also, I'm a fan of a lot of James Herbert's work. I read his whole Rat trilogy, and also I read his book, The Fog, which has nothing to do with John Carpenter's The Fog. But that's a really enjoyable. I mean, all his books are really enjoyable. Okay, this is number 2. This one's a little different because this one, it seems like it's classified as horror, but I would say it's more of a thriller. But this is Blister from Jeff Strand. Sorry. Yeah, this one isn't, like I said, but it's not too scary. I would say it has some pretty intense moments that are a little gory, but it's not really I would say too scary. But it's really fun. Also, one thing about this book, this is actually a book I finished the day I got it. Like, I got in the mail, I read like half of it, and then I read Then I got some food. Then I finished the rest of it. Let's see how long this book is. And it's a pretty easy read, and it's not like it's about 270 pages. But this one's about a cartoon artist. Like he draws cartoons for like a newspaper or magazine. I forget exactly which one. He I think after some sort of well, basically after some incident happens, he's required to take some like R&R. Like he pretty much has to take R&R. And he goes to a small town. And I'm saying small town a lot, but again, a lot of these spooky books always take place in small towns. He goes there and he goes to the bar. He comes across a few locals and they tell him like, you know, like they're just drinking, you know, just chatting stuff, and they ask him like, oh, do you want to see Blister? And he asks them like, oh, who's Blister? And they just tell her like she's basically the town's freak. She's like a woman who has these like horrific scars all over her face, and they just like, oh, do you want to see it? And with him being drunk, because he points out like in this book is like, oh, the character's kind of like, oh, normally he wouldn't do this, but he's kind of like he wants to like see what they're talking about, you know. And then they go to where Blister lives. She lives with her dad, and it's kind of like in the woods. They go there and they just take a peek through her like her dad lives in this house, and right now I guess so she is they describe later like she has her own little house outside of his, so she can have her own space. She lives in there, and basically the main character and these guys, they're all kind of drunk. They decide to just take a peek through her window so they can get a peek of Blister, and they see her, and then well they all just kind of they see her, and then she sees them, and she just gets startled and starts hiding. And then after the prank, they go home, and then the main character, he feels really bad about what happened. So he decides that he needs to go back there and apologize to her, that sort of thing. Yeah, no, that not really a standard. I mean, there's not really a horror novel, but it's classified as such. But I just want to show it off because, for example, this is my favorite book from Jeff Strand. He made a lot of books, and all of them I really loved. Like, for example, he made another book called Sick House, which that was really good. I also finished that in the same day I got it. He also made another one called Dweller, which I really did enjoy. He also made another one called Bring Her Back. So you get the idea. I'm just going to go over all his books, but it's like all his books I've read, fairly quickly the day I got him. Really good author. Actually, at one point, I actually had an opportunity to like buy some autographed copies of his books on his website, but I chose against it because I was trying to save money. Kind of wish I did, but oh well, maybe next time. All right, well, this is my number one. This is Hell House by Richard Madison. I'm not totally sure how to say a lot of these names. Again, I'm probably butchering 90% of these names. But this is the same author, as you can see in the book. It says like the same author of I Am Legend. But this is I think my favorite book because it's really scary. And also just look at this cover, by the way. Here, I'm actually gonna get some better lighting. But this is a haunted house, novel, as I'm sure you can tell by the title on the cover. Okay, basically about this some people. It reminds me a lot of I believe her name was Merry Shelly. Was it? No, was it something Jackson? I can't remember her name. The author of yeah, I think I got the names mixed up. But crap, she's the author of Haunted at Hill House. It's kind of similar to that. It was like these people, they go into this house. But this one, they're trying to find evidence of the paranormal as well, and they're also trying to find the secrets of like about if it's true like life after death. Because this house is the sign of a bunch of horrific things. Because I think they said the original owner, I forget his name, but he was a pretty mean dude. Don't want to go into like too much. I mean, also it's been a few years since I read this one, but I remember it's actually a book. After I finished reading it, I just know I was going through the pages like crazy. Then after reading it, I think it was like I read another novel, and then afterwards I wanted to reread this one. So I guess that shows how good it is. It's a pretty much a classic. Anyways, yeah, sorry this video was not really the best because like I said, I don't have a script or anything. And also the fact that some of these books I haven't read in some time, but then they are my favorites. So anyways, I hope this was at least somewhat enjoyable and and watchable. And I guess if you guys feel so inclined, you can maybe leave a comment about like, oh, have you read any of these books? And if you have, what you thought about them, and if you haven't read them, like I guess what you think about them, why I showed them off. Anyways, I guess that's it. So I'll see you guys next time. Until then.